a game 3. It'll be interesting to see how this first one goes.
Right. On the surface, I am definitely looking a little bit better, just going undefeated throughout the tournament bracket. But, not having seen every one of those matches, you never know, what may have caused that. So definitely, Ninban not going to, it can't write off Ninban at all because he's gotten this far as well. So all that matters is who wins.
Yeah, definitely. And an interesting first item in Link's house. Both runners opting to start there and head north to do the tree pulls. Ninban actually gets a bomb from his kill. We see the 5 arrow count on the pull. And Fetch Quest first item. What do you think?
Well, I think maybe rather than seeing the normal, go from Sanctuary to Kakariko's route, maybe they'll start from Link's house and just try to wrap around the south side just to get that shovel item out of the way. I mean, how often do you ever see items there? But if there is an item there, that could be pretty decisive early on.
Oh yeah, and Zaen gets the 1 bomb drop from the guard drop pool. And yeah, both of them are going Sanctuary, so 4 pieces of heart.
Yeah. Maybe they'll just go ahead and do that afterwards. But it's good that they get that bomb because that's 1 less you need for all the Bumble Walls in Kakariko.
Oh yeah, and with the single tree pull prize not really having anything useful, if Tree Crab comes up with nothing, that 1 bomb could lead them to more. We'll have to see what they do. Well, Zaen is, interestingly enough, farming another one.
And, yeah, I think he's actually trying to set up the second pool for the tree pull. Just happened to manage to get another bomb out of it by pure chance, so...
Yeah, that does look like... No, still the 5 arrow drop, though. Interesting. And Ninban takes a quick peek inside the cave. The crab only drops the green, and that was a fast map check. Did you catch that? On Ninban's side?
Literally came up right as you said that, unfortunately, so I did not see. But according to our tracker, it looks like we got Crystal and Desert Palace, Crystal and Eastern Palace, and... Hera, I think, is a blue pendant.
Yep. According to chat, Hera is a blue pendant. And inside the Lumberjack Cave was simply a piece of heart. So unless it's required for Dark World access, we will not be seeing Aghanim.
Right. Pretty slow start to the seed. I mean, sure, we saw that shovel first item, but everything else so far just been just standard arrow capacities, and then plus the tree pull too hasn't been really exciting either. So hopefully we see some sort of progression in Kakariko.
Oh, yeah. I will admit the shovel in Link's house is an interesting first item. It's really going to depend on what they get inside a Kakariko that determines whether it's a slow or fast one. I do like the mix of sprites, I will say that.
Got the Andy Pug on the left. And I believe that's one of the characters from Secret of Mana on the right, correct?
Yep, that is actually Sprite from Secret of Mana, go figure. And...
pretty convenient name.
Yep. We have the Ice Rod and a Shield here, which is interesting because the Ice Rod can substitute for the Fire Rod in terms of damage on some bosses. Useful utility item. So
funny that we find the Ice Rod so early, because you often see a lot of seeds where Turtle Rock required, and that Ice Rod is just so elusive. So if we do see that Turtle Rock is a required dungeon, I'm sure they'll be kind of glad not having to worry about trying to find that somewhere.
Yep. And Zaen does their map check and finds, 5-6 at Eastern, or Desert, excuse me. And here's a slight deviation. Zaen picked up that 1 extra bomb, and because of that, in the back of the well, 50 rupees. That's enough for the bottle vendor. Meanwhile, Ninban may end up having to buy bombs. Of course, they both get the cape out the back. No immediate payoff there, but Cape loves to point to Aga.
Yeah, Cape always kind of puts that kind of fear in there, like, is Aga going to be required? As soon as you see something like a lamp, too, and then you're really starting to think, okay, do I gamble on doing Aghanim right now, or do I go ahead and just 100% check everything in Light World first?
Oh, yeah, it can always be hard to make that call because it just takes one item sometimes. That was the hook shot, it looked like, yeah. That is a very interesting item there.
If we find the power gloves, maybe we'll see a early Death Mountain, just pick up all the items up there.
Yep, and Zaen is doing an interesting route, immediately heading south. Blowing through the town. Has no bombs right now. Check the library, checking the race.
Ooh.
First sword in the race game.
And he doesn't have the bombs either to pick it up, so...
Yep. I have a feeling
approach that.
We're probably about to see the dig spot checked, and then there are two bushes here that have a 50% chance of dropping bombs. That one and then the one right below, but I guess just the one's fine.
Yeah.
So.
Pretty convenient with the shovel routing as well.
Oh yeah, let's see. Shovel leads to the lamp.
Wow. So, are we seeing Aghanim? We already have everything required for him.
We have a lamp. We know where a sword is that Zaen's probably about to get. Ninban will be getting it shortly. We have the cape to bypass the barrier. But there's still a good 15, 18 items so they can check before having to make that call.
Right. I'm getting really lucky with these bomb drops as well. I mean, sure, you get the 50% one in the bush, but still getting them from the other enemies around him as well. 2 in a row.
Right. Oh yeah, that 50% drop. Sometimes it's just immediately both bushes will give it to you. Other times you have to go off the screen 2-3 times. So getting them like that, plus from the enemies, very useful. But this sword will make it so bombs aren't quite as crucial. But 2 bombs on Zaen's side isn't really enough at this point. Otherwise, they'll be constantly scrounging for him.
So pretty standard routing that we're seeing. I expect both of them will probably go to... okay, I was about to say, I think Zaen is probably going to go to South Shore, but I saw the Sanctuary, but they didn't say we quit, so yeah, I think South Shore is the next play.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but due to the lack of bombs, Zaen did not check Chicken House. They do not have hook shot.
You're right, actually. So that's going to definitely bite him later.
I have never seen anybody skip a bombable location inside of Kakariko before. So, we know what it is. We know it's huge. Wow.
If we see something, though, on East Death Mountain that requires the hook shot, we could see him going pretty fast back to Kakariko. But, you know, at this level of play, you know, just that minor amount of time having to backtrack and find an item you skipped could be, you know, the difference between winning and losing.
Yeah, if Zaen knows that item was left, then it's a bummer. But eventually they'll head back. But if it's one of those things of, you know, muscle memory, think you check the whole town, you do something weird instead, and you forget about it, that could be pretty much the match, literally 8 minutes in. Obviously it's too early to call it, but that's definitely going to bite Zaen in the rear at some point in this race. So, and here between our runners, we see a deviation. Zaen hasn't found anything too worthwhile yet out of Escape. Some pretty solid Escape strats. Oh, there's the Cane of Burna. Whereas Ninban is heading inside the mini Moldorn Cave now after having done the dam.
I have to wonder if Zaen actually went to Escape just because of the lack of bombs, just to see if he can farm up some extra ones.
We have Literacy on Ninban's side. And it could be, and the Fire Rod. Early Fire and Ice Rod.
This is a seed I would want to be playing.
Yeah, it's definitely interesting. It doesn't do too much for you in present time. We see Zaen setting up a Death Warp, knocking down most of their health. And Escape had Cane of Burna, but that's pretty much it. But, what's I say? Right, the Ice Rod and Fire Rod both don't do too much in terms of current positioning, but once they get to the Dark World and they see what's required, that could allow them to immediately do Skull. If they ever head up to Turtle Rock, they're just a cane away from it. So,
yeah, it's one of those things that pays off much later in the race rather than at the start.
Yep. And here we have Ice Cave has the blue boomerang. So.
Also, Hiei brings up a good point in chat. Finding Cane of Burna also could show that Laser Bridge is available for the logic when you find Red Cane. So seeing both those rods, Red and Blue Cane, could kind of suggest that maybe Turtle Rock could have something later on.
Very true, because the requirements for Laser Bridge are either the Mirror Shield or one of those two invincibility items, so that could potentially open it up. Of course, we're getting a little bit ahead of ourselves, but it's nice to keep that in mind.
Zaen getting locked out of the back of the Escape. Looks like he did not find that small key in the first half, so we'll see probably gloves pretty soon to find whatever's in the back half.
Maybe, maybe not. They do have everything for Aghanim, so it could be just delaying the inevitable. You don't need the item from the cave, but we're going to send you there anyway.
Right.
So we see Zaen following in Ninban's footsteps, while Ninban's following in Zaen's footsteps now. So what is interesting, you know, obviously they don't have gloves, they don't have the boots, but Desert is open.
Yeah, Desert open. We have Eastern open as well, with the exception of Arma. So I have to wonder if Ninban is purposely going to escape to maybe find anything here that would suggest that Aghanim isn't required, and then just Death Warping to the front and then going straight to Aghanim.
It would be a pretty ballsy play to immediately, you know, skip out on checking Desert, skip out on checking Agena, skip out on checking Eastern Sarashula, and going straight to Aga. But in past races, moves like that have paid off, and everything this seed has, literally not even 10 minutes in, hey, you can go to Aghanim. So it could pay off for him. Although no Moon Pearl kind of dampens that just a bit.
Yeah, it's a play that honestly I probably wouldn't be able to make myself because of how much time you have to commit to it. But yeah, you know, a gamble like that could really set apart the two of them. But like I said, no Moon Pearl kind of like that adds a little bit of hesitancy to committing to that play.
Yep. And here we see Ninban putting the hook shot to use. It's always fun whenever you get it early and you don't have boots, because so many items in this game you can hook to. Just a little bit, you know, save some frames here and there, trims the time down a bit. Yep, Fury Aim is saying they have the book, just go straight to Desert. And even though this is... There we go, Thieves Town is Green Pendant according to Sarashula. But yeah, even though this seed, or this version of the randomizer is quite random in its item distribution, sometimes when you get items, they do point you, and Zaen taking a death. Ouch.
Was it the crabs next to Ice Rock Cave? I think
on the way to Ice Rock.
Yeah, those things are... They're scary, I'm not gonna lie.
The crabs do the most amount of damage in the light world of all enemies at 2 hearts a hit.
Yeah, you know how dangerous those crabs are in real life, so pretty sure the game developers decided to emulate that.
Oh yeah, nasty little buggers. Tastes good though.
I have to agree with some things people are saying in chat. I mean, you have a lot of stuff suggesting go to Desert Palace with a book, lantern. Maybe the fact that they don't have gloves are kind of like, okay, maybe I want to find that first so I could just go ahead and clear it out completely, as opposed to taking that gamble that maybe gloves are over there.
Oh yeah, and Eastern, the flute.
Oh.
We have the flute in Eastern Palace, first chest. And it's funny, I was about to just say Eastern Palace is never a bad play, pendant or crystal, because there are 0 item requirements to access the first 3 chests and the big chest if the big key is up front. But wow, that was
out in Zaen's favor a lot, because both of them have to go back to Kakariko at this point.
And the mirror, holy
God, a mirror.
Wow.
Eastern is packed.
I know it's still a bit early to say, and there's still a lot of the world to see. But we are seeing a lot of essential item value out of these checks 15.5 minutes in.
Right. And what I was saying too about finding the flute here, that definitely works a lot in Zaen's favor, because both of them have to go back to Kakariko to activate it. So maybe if he knows that he skipped the chicken house, he can just factor that in at the same time and barely lose any time.
Yeah, I'm really, really hoping Zaen remembers that they did indeed skip the chicken house. That would be heartbreaking otherwise. Oh, Ninban trying to check the big chest before having the big key.
Sorry, Ninban. Game doesn't work like that.
Yeah, but I'm really hoping Zaen does remember that, because otherwise it would be the race, unfortunately. And that's the nature of randomizer. You miss one spot and then you forget about it for some reason, it can bite you good. But,
yeah,
hopefully
in tourney races, normal races, like it's pretty discouraging to know afterwards that this one item you missed by accident was the key item for Go mode.
Yep. But we'll have to wait and see what happens. Still plenty early in this race. So Ninban picks up the big key, and we'll be seeing what's in the big chest here shortly. And even with these items, it still doesn't really put much hope in avoiding Aghanim. There is still Desert Palace and Agina. And the flute opens up Death Mountain with the mirror, that's Hera. So won't be seeing an Aghanim play just yet, I don't think.
Yeah, at this point, it doesn't make sense to go Aghanim when there's still so much in check. But like you said, there's 3 items that we need to get into Dark World, and the item pool is definitely becoming smaller and smaller.
Yep. And with that item there in the big chest, Eastern Palace is cleared with the exception of Armus holding the crystal. So won't be seeing Eastern Palace probably for a while until they're ready to clear it with the bow, which could very well be a trolling item, because it seems to be one of those that does it. Here we have the first Swag Duck. Zaen also going to Sanctuary, presumably to activate their flute as well.
I have to wonder where they're going to go first. Death Mountain, which has the better item pool, or Desert, which is kind of being breadcrumbed right now.
Given the item check potential, math says Death Mountain. Ninban, however, is indeed going to Desert first. The ledge contains a bottle, which opens up Sick Kid. And after he checks Desert, he may very well head over to Agina, perhaps. So could potentially only come out with the bottle and 1 item inside Desert, or could potentially come out with everything but the torch. We'll have to see.
Oh, thank goodness he remembered.
Thank you, Zaen. And very, very
really worried.
Yeah. I was really hoping that it was just the case of I'll return sometime shortly. And there's the hook shot for Zaen. Luckily, half magic, first item out of Desert. They have both rocks now, they have half magic. Small key on the torch. So, yeah, boot locked Desert Palace.
I wonder if he'll actually... Oh, wait, no, we can't get into the second half to pick up a small key and backtrack, so...
Nope, no gloves.
Agna check instead.
So luckily, they have a lot of item locations open still, because even if they are railroaded to Agna, they're still lacking the Moon Pearl, they're lacking the gloves, they're lacking the hammer. They have no way to access the Dark World or to do anything in it, even if they were to go there just yet. So
yeah, it's pretty insane that none of those have showed up at this point.
Yep, and here we go, an Agna check. Zaen finally gets the Ice Rod Cave taken care of, and instead picks Death Mountain and is going for the old man first. So, just 20 rupees in Agna. Stealing the old man's savings.
Yeah, looks like, getting Book, Lamp together. Definitely kind of trolling us with thinking that Desert Palace was the play.
Yeah, but even then, Half Magic is a value item, say, at this point in the seed. Fire Rod, right. Ice Rod. If for whatever reason you do have to go to Agna, tongue-tied, but holy cow, the boot's off the old man.
Literally just happened in that community race last night too, so that's gonna definitely help Zaen kind of make up some of the lost time for not having the hook shot.
Yep, and we're pretty sure Ninban is heading right up to Death Mountain now, so Ninban will have boots in about 40 seconds himself. Here we see Zaen wasting no time, has the mirror, but nope, let's go where the items are first. So I'm almost certain that there's got to be something of value either up here or on Hera. And here we see Zaen using the lovely mirror glitch there inside the cave, deleting the movable block.
Yeah, I think there's a very good chance of something being up here, but if for some reason it literally turns out to be nothing, then honestly I think we're seeing Moon Pearl on the pyramid.
And that would definitely be an interesting situation whenever you are railroaded. Oh, never mind. There's the first gloves. There's the bow.
Whoa. Wow.
What? Wow. So, and Master Sword.
I didn't know we were in Hype Cave already.
Wow.
But, okay, well, the logic kind of wanted you to go to Death Mountain first before Desert. So,
yeah. Ninban's heading to Hera first, it looks like. Oh, there we go. The pug in the pajamas. Isn't that cute? So, Ninban picking up a bomb capacity upgrade. Unfortunately, did not check the map of the Dark World. Doesn't have the sword yet, but we'll get the knowledge that 10 arrows at the Ether Medallion. We will not be seeing that again from Ninban. So, at this point in time, there's no real advantage or disadvantage to Ninban going to Hera first. But, there's definitely some value waiting. Doesn't want what's in the basement. And second chest says... once he gets there. No, don't have to go to the basement just yet.
Yeah, that's definitely nice.
And Spiral Cave only had 20 rupees, so saves and quits and heads to Sanctuary.
Interesting.
Yeah. Remember, Hera is a pendant, so Zaen's going straight to the back of escape.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense, actually.
Yeah. So what's interesting, looking at the items, excluding the medallions, they are pretty much Flippers, Moon Pearl, Canis Samara, and Titan's Mitts away from, and the hammer. Still a few items, but they have found a lot in a short amount of time.
Yeah, I see that we'll see Desert probably... he'll probably go to Desert right now, given that he got that those gloves, and he has everything to clear it, so...
Yep. Has everything to clear Desert, everything to clear Eastern Palace. However, Bonk rocks first.
Yeah, definitely the thing to just, if you have boots, just go ahead and just knock it out of the way, because it's going to stay there for a very long time, and you're always going to be thinking, okay, is there something I'm missing there?
Yeah, just a piece of heart there. And here we see Ninban, Fighter Sword, Moldhorn, which means 6 hits, spins, or slashes, doesn't really matter, before Moldhorn goes down, and you get to deal with the very fast, fun phase. Although it hasn't been too terrible. Just one more hit, whereas Zaen is heading into desert now. Find half magic, but because it's boot locked, we'll have to see what the other item is. Now if there's boots.
So it looks like desert has our last, or sorry, basement has our last item in Hera. I didn't see if you picked up 2.
I only saw the 1, so I do believe that the basement does have the final item. And I'm curious what the second item in desert is. Zaen gets the small key from the torch. And yeah, Ninban's like, I want that item, let's go.
Yeah, we're not seeing anything still for that Dark World access, so I'm thinking that's gonna be that item.
For not having any Dark World access, they sure have a lot of access in the Light World. Definitely. Outside of the few mirror spots, pretty much have access to all of it, I think, at this point. Except King's Tomb. There's the big key.
They don't have enough money for Zora either, so if they wanted to get up there, then probably see Cool Hand or some sort of rupee farming come out.
Yep, it's not a high priority, I would believe, at this point, because no Moon Pearl, no flippers, you can't check Waterfall Cave, can't access just a blue rupee in the basement. So the value is East Side, Death Mountain, Light World. Hera was a bust. Barring a pedestal, Hera's a bust.
It's still really hard to tell if anyone is actually more ahead of each other, just because all it takes right now is just finding those 2 right items to get to the rest of the game.
Oh yeah, definitely. Zaen picks up their bottle, which means they'll be able to pay a visit to Sick Kid in a bit for the 50 rupees. But the seed does look like if Zora will contain an item, you're going to have to farm for it. It's definitely been an interesting seed so though. No access to the Dark World, but this whole slew of items opening up most of the world to them whenever they do get over there.
Yeah, these are the seeds I don't like too much, because it turns those bottlenecks really restrict the creativity of your routing, unfortunately. And it's just like, okay, I just need 1 item to get, the rest of the game unlocked.
Yeah. Me personally, whenever I get seeds like this, it usually ends up where you get everything except 1 or 2 items, and then you spend 45 minutes looking for those 2 items.
It ends up being just that random chest in Ice Palace that you never check.
Oh, yeah. And since I didn't catch it earlier, it is just a 20 rupee on the floating island.
And we get Moon Pearl.
Moon Pearl at Lanmolis. Wow.
So, that's I wonder if he's gonna think maybe Hera has something like the hammer or mitts.
Yeah, at this point in time, Aga does seem to play, but Zaen left Hera alone and never even went up either. So they went straight east Death Mountain. Ninban comes out with the flute and decides to go finish off desert.
Yeah, it's the only play you can really make right now after finding those gloves.
Oh yeah, because Eastern, that you have the bow now, it's just a crystal. You have the mirror. So you might as well wait to finish off Eastern whenever you go to Pod, or you're in the area of Pod if it ends up being a pendant. But it does look like, let's see, where's Zaen going? Sick Kid, perhaps, first.
Oh, right. Not that they picked up that bottle.
Yep, I know personally, I try to put Aga off until I have exhausted all other options. In a seed like this, I may consider it before doing a pendant Hera. But Zaen's taken the bait and is going to Hera where there will be absolutely nothing. Which gives Ninban a little bit of a chance to play a little bit of catch up now going to Desert. Nice bit of hook speed there as well.
I have to wonder if one of them will fake flippers just to see if maybe Waterfall has one of those two items they need. Because if one of them did that and did that sequence break, you know, that would render Aghanim completely unnecessary. At least from their perspective, not logically.
Yeah, that's the one thing I always find interesting about sequence breaks. You know, some people rely on them, some people don't. But whenever you break it, if you do find something of value, you have to kind of remember, okay, you know, Waterfall Cave, I need the flippers to get here. And if Swamp is a crystal, well, then you need to find the flippers. But if you found the item of value, well, what else leads to that point?
Yeah, kind of working backwards when you sequence break on where items have to be. I think that's a trait that you see a lot of top runners have because you can kind of easily predict which items are where, and if you actually need to go pick them up.
Yeah, and that's something that some of the newer individuals can get really tripped up with. They find this wonderful item in a sequence break and then miss something crucial because it leads them on a wild goose chase. Which is another interesting point of seeds like this. You have the mirror available, you have the flute available. Still waiting on the Titan's Mitts at some point, but pretty much anywhere is open at this point. Because Fire Rod, Ice Rod, you know, the only real item they're missing in terms of dungeons are flippers and Canis Samara at this point, really, outside of medallions. So
Okay.
if they do have just the one item, it's... where do you go look? Wow. Another interesting note, 32.5 minutes in, and we have not seen the Dark World outside of the brief jaunt up Death Mountain.
Yeah, I think I really think after this we'll see them both go straight to Aghanim. I doubt they'll sequence break, but then again, it is game one. Game one is the best time to take those kind of weird gambles and see if you can, get that win early on. I would see more safe stuff later in game 2 and game 3, so maybe we'll see that. I don't know enough about the two runners, unfortunately, to know kind of
Ninban. Yeah, Ninban seems to be struggling just a little bit. He had the magic, the half magic with the fire rod, but tried approaching the fight from the bottom of the screen for it, and it's just a lot trickier to react to them. But there's his Moon Pearl. Kind of has an idea of what's up, and at this point it pretty much is, do you farm rupees for Zora, or do you go fight Aghanim? Hammer has not been found yet, Venus Hill. These runners do not have access to the Dark World yet.
Literally, the whole first 30 minutes of this has been a wild goose chase for those items to get you to Aghanim.
Ninban goes...
Get you to Dark World.
I wonder if Ninban is about to do... No, he's going... Oh, Bonk Rocks. He hasn't checked those yet.
And he has Back to Sanctuary, or Escape, I think, too.
True, he does. That's right, and there are 300 rupees inside of the library. So if they do want to do Zora before going to Aghanim, it wouldn't take much.
Yeah, and that's something that actually would scare me a bit, too. Given just how out of the way Zora is, just the thought that, okay, maybe Zora has that item that allows me to skip, 5 minutes of Aghanim. It's a little bit nerve-wracking on making that decision, because if it's something Zora doesn't have, then you wasted all that time going to Zora too.
Zaen's going back. Oh, Zaen is bombing into here, into Houlihan. So we know what choice Zaen's made.
They really do not want to do that Aghanim if they can help it.
But yeah, Ninban is backtracking right now in the Dark Escape, and I believe it was a piece of heart back here, so it's going to turn it bust. And we'll have to see if Ninban does... No, it's bombs right there, that's right. Ninban decides to... Starts at Links. Grabbing some health. I'm thinking Ninban is not going to bother with rupees.
Yep, he's making the play. So we could see kind of what if Zaen's able to sequence break to Dark World. Well, Ninban does it logically.
Yep, and even then, even if this sequence break does pay off in some form, there's still going to be, the flippers or something that they'll still have to find at some point. And here we have Simple Sarah in chat saying, dislike the Aga play. You have to realize, in logic, Zora is the only potential item that they could pick up at this point. Zaen is sequence breaking at this point. Did fake flippers. The Moon Pearl allows the Water Walk. And this will allow knowledge of Heart Container on the ledge. And Zaen didn't even have the money.
Yeah, so I kind of disagree with going up there without the money, because at this point you're not looking for, late game items. You're looking just for the item to get you to Dark World. So I would have taken that extra time just to farm the extra rupees before going up there.
Yeah, if you're going to take the chance of that, you're, 34 rupees short. There's quite a few spots. You can flute to Desert, head east, do one quick run at the Thief Cave. You can go to the library, pick up the 300 rupees there. Either of those would have been smart plays if you were going to do that. So it looks like Aga may very well be the play. It'll be interesting to see if Zora does get checked at some point in the future.
People are mentioning the 300 in the library. To be completely fair, I actually probably would have forgot about that as well if I was in this race. So maybe, just with how much you're thinking about during the game, it's easy to forget about those small things. So it's a little bit different as a viewer versus the runner itself, just to kind of defend Zaen a bit.
Yep, and Ninban is putting that Fire Rod to excellent use. So, honestly, Aghanim 1 is not too much of a time sink whenever you have the Fire Rod and have magic, because you literally burn your way through it.
Yeah, and if it's required to, then both players are going through the same exact time sink, so it's not really like a gamble.
Yep.
It's Aghanim required for those asking in chat, because literally the only other thing that has not been checked is Zora, which Zaen unfortunately did not have the money for when he went up there.
Yep, so unless Zora turns up with the Titan's Mitts or the Hammer, then yes, this play was required. Zora was indeed in the Logic Bubble Metropolis because they have the Power Gloves. Power Gloves allow you to lift a rock that is east of the Witch's Hut, and that'll allow you access that way.
They definitely made the effort to go literally everywhere, though, because they were not thinking, I want to go ahead and just do Aghanim as soon as I can. They really tried to look everywhere else.
Yep. And so far, Aghanim is being nice. So, seeing the pattern that NMG runner rule for. Oh, no, there's the first blue ball. Almost.
You called it.
And there it is. 6 shots and only 1 blue ball tossed out. Literally almost godlike pattern from Aghanim.
Alright, so now we have pretty much everything opened up because they can use Hookshot to get over to the village of Outcast.
Oh yeah, that's the fun part. Whenever you were railroaded through Aghanim, you have the Hookshot, you don't have the hammer. If you want to access Hype Cave, you have to go all the way around.
Ooh, he's making the pod play right away.
He has the bow. Here we go. Swamp is 5. We have the red pendant in Skullwoods. Mire and T-Rock both are crystals. So at this point in time, we need to see the flippers, we need to see the Cana Samara, and we need to see some medallions. And that is pretty much what we're looking for at this point in time.
The reason I bring up the Ninban plays because we don't have the hammer just yet. So if it's somewhere like that you would normally go to in the Dark World, then you could see a double dip pod that may not even be necessary.
Yeah, even then though, I don't think in this situation pod is a bad play, because your Dark World access is just that 1 point. Pod has 6 items, the bow lets you clear it all, you have the mirror, so you're not wasting too much time, and you still need to find the big key to defeat the dungeon anyway.
Yeah, it looks like Zaen's making the same play too, so...
And I don't blame either of them for doing this, because the further you get away from the pyramid, the more time you're going to use whenever you have to save and quit or come back. Oh yeah, Flaffykins. The Burna cane was located in Escape, I believe it was.
Yes.
This seed has definitely been interesting because Light World checks outside of mirror locations, they've pretty much checked everything. They have King's Tomb, mirror locked locations, Zora, and technically by logic, Hobo and Waterfall. So there's not too much left there.
Yeah, I think just like Bombo's tablet, which obviously you need Dark World access for, Checkerboard Cave, just all those like I said, mirror locations.
Yep.
I'll see Graveyard Ledge obviously get picked or get checked too, because I'm sure they'll go north and just make that world tour around Dark World to Outcasts.
That would be smart. What's interesting is with Skullwoods and Thieves both being pendants, will they go in, and if they do go in, how far they can?
Yeah, those are definitely 2 dungeons that you generally enter when you go into Dark World from Kakariko. Even just to pick up maybe the first 4 items in Thieves Town and just the 2 items in Skullwood. So I wonder if that will influence their decision making at all.
Oh yeah. Here we see Ninban is heading to the back half. Zaen's not too far behind.
Nothing too yet. They got their fire shield, which is 1 less upgrade needed for the mirror shield if that's needed later.
Yep, it's a nice utility item. There are a couple of dashes you can do inside of Swamp that the fire shield comes in handy for. Other than that, just, blocking a little bit of incidental damage.
And more keys. Everyone's favorite dungeon.
6 small keys inside of pod and chests. There's actually more in the dungeon with the pots, I believe. Picking up some of those rupees along. Oh, 300 rupee. Another small key. The last small key we'll be seeing in the dungeon. Yeah, he already went south, so that's the last small key. So we have 3 more chances at value here. Oh, here we see the hammer jump. Or bomb jump, I should say.
A little bit
And
hard
gets
to
it on the
see.
first
Oh,
try.
nice. Yeah, that's going to help him catch up a little bit to Ninban.
Yep, so there's only one chest left to check. And I wouldn't say it saves too much time because Ninban did this one last and it will be mirroring out. And 300 rupees. So, 600 rupees inside a pod. Fire shield, and that's it. Good news is, whenever they do have the hammer, back clearing. Now does Ninban decide to do Eastern while he's already here? Nope, he's going to save it. Looks like can't blame him for that move, though.
Yeah, I think if you could do it... Oh, or no, maybe he's like, nope, I do want to go. Or
I don't know.
What? I'm confused.
Ninban may have realized he'd already pulled all the items out of Eastern, and it was not a 5 or 6 crystal, so is committing to heading back. Momentary confusion. It's not the first time we've seen it. Hopefully, doesn't trip himself up too much.
Yeah, I would say if Zora does have the hammer, then Zaen probably actually feels more behind for starting that commitment, but not having the rupees for it.
Definitely. Now, question is, do either of these runners check Catfish, or do they head straight to the graveyard? It's kind of an out of the way.
What I was thinking too.
Ninban needs to be careful though. Half heart.
Oh, we got the
green
sync.
Tunic.
Yeah. Oh, brief sync.
Yeah, Ninban is having to be careful and skipping Catfish entirely, whereas Ninban is heading in that direction. But again, he is literally one hit away from death at this point in time, so he has to be real careful not to get set back.
Yeah, I think it's a good decision to go to Catfish right now when you can go do Zora at the same time. Obviously, there's the waterfall that you're not able to enter, but honestly, you can just flew over to Lake Hyla and just quickly go up there later on if you need to.
Yep, and Zaen pulls a heart container outside of King's Tomb and is heading up to the ledge next. Meanwhile, Ninban has mirror out.
Ooh,
is that silvers at Catfish?
That could be a pretty bad deal for Zaen, because how often do you go to Catfish?
Well, if Zaen commits to what is Ninban doing?
Yeah, you can go to...
Ninban did not commit. Check the ledge and then...
Oh, okay. He's doing the big flippers as well, just to get them all one way at the same time.
Okay, yeah. Makes a
And
lot of
then you can
sense.
just go right back down to the portal, I believe.
Yep. But picking up the silvers will save Ninban if they were to play on equal footing for the rest of the match. Will save a lot of time on Vitreous, thanks to the one shot, one kill on the small eyes, and just 2 required for Vidi. Save time in Eastern against Armos. That's just 2. And then we saw bombs up there at the Cape Ledge. Hobo with the 20. Ninban nails the fake flipper back out of the Hobo.
I have to say that probably Zaen is a little bit more ahead right now, because Ninban is meaning a lot more time to the Zora play than Zaen did.
Perhaps, but again, Zora did have the potential to hold something valuable. And we haven't seen anything yet on Zaen's side to say otherwise.
Yeah, if Zora has something, then absolutely the right play, and I would have to question whether or not Zaen would go up there at any point soon.
Yep. And Simple Sarah pointing out it's a bit weird to do this after Aga. It is a little bit weird to do the fake flipper afterwards. Oh, there's Tempered out of the bombable hut in the Village of Outcasts on Zaen's side.
And Sarah's right too. Yeah, it did just still work out in Ninban's favor to find the silvers there and just route this in as well. But my personal opinion is that when you have these later spheres in the logic unlocked, you force yourself to do those first to find more progression as opposed to doing like this early game content.
And let's see the Zora check was indeed nothing. So I don't know why Ninban is still swimming. It's
he probably wants to go back to the portal. But he doesn't have the flippers to go down that way, so it's kind of a weird routing, but I understand why he's doing it. And that also does mean Aghanim was the correct play.
Yep, Aghanim was indeed required after a treasure trove of items from the Light World. So Zaen skipped Thieves, skipped Skull, and has now locked themselves out of Village of Outcasts. So did not pick up the Smith, cannot pick up the Smith. Will have to save and quit if they wanted to head back in that direction. So, interesting decision there, Zaen.
Yeah, we're still looking for that hammer to get back to, or mitts to get back to Village of Outcasts without having to go all the way around.
Yep, and the digging game was just a 5 rupee, so it lost. But Zaen essentially skipped what could be up to 6 items to check, the overworld real quick, but doesn't have access to up to 300 rupees from Stumpy.
Yeah, that's kind of a scary play because, if Hype Cave does end up not having anything, then you're forced to go all the way back to Village of Outcasts by going all the way around the Dark World when you could have just done it right off the bat. I'm not sure actually what the correct play would be in that kind of case.
Yeah, it's version 27, 26 I should say, weighted dungeons, a bit heavier.
Right.
So 27, continued along because it really only made a few minor tweaks. So dungeons, while there are plenty of value items outside that we've seen, dungeons still hold quite a bit of value. In Hype Cave, the hammer's in the back. Wow. Saves and quit anyway.
Very last place to go to, honestly. Well, actually, no. There was Bombos Tablet as well that could have been checked, but good call catching that.
Wow. And speaking of Bombos Tablet, nope, going right back to Pod. So we'll probably be seeing our second and third crystal on Zaen's side.
Surprised he didn't just mirror out and loot over.
Yep. I'm not positive if there's an item on Helmasaur or not. I did not pay that close attention to the items found within. But this right here will give, 2 more crystals. Unfortunately, Swamp being the other one for Fat Fairy won't do much. And Flaffy saying, yes, Helmasaur does have an item. Meanwhile, Ninban is headed up into Skull Woods.
Yeah, I think just going right now to Pod and Eastern, even if it's just one item, that's one item you're going to be picking up regardless. And if it's something that can help you later on in the seed, just go ahead and get it out of the way.
Yep, not only that, but it eliminates the need to head there at a later time. Definitely some interesting routing and choices from Sif. So, Ninban.
Mothula.
Yeah, that's an interesting choice. Just straight back and...
Got a bad check.
Yep. Pedestal check incoming, ladies and gentlemen.
Kind of weird to check pedestal at this point, but still, it's always cool.
Actually, I think it's just couch cash. Move on along. Which means that there really is no point at all in fighting Mothula. Unless an item is on there of value, but Ninban doesn't know.
Did not see if Ninban found the first item in Skullwoods, unfortunately.
Ninban just about darted straight back.
Okay,
From
so
what?
it's going from the back to the front.
Yeah. So it comes
That's
out with
good,
the big
actually
key
worked
back
out.
there.
Yeah, 'cause you can
Sometimes,
just go to the big chest now.
yeah, sometimes you get items 1, 2 done. Other times it's buried. Because Ninban started to do this room here earlier and then just dashed out and aborted.
Meanwhile, Zaen side, pretty clean Helmasaur fight.
Oh yeah, tempered sword, hammer, real simple. Mask goes down, it's 2 slashes. 20, so yeah. No item, but again, that is crystal number 2, mirroring to Eastern to get crystal number 3.
Yeah, I'll put him 3 out of 7 crystals.
Yep. An interesting fact, though, still no mid.
Yeah, you know, with Mire and Turtle Rock required.
And ice.
You know, and ice, yeah. Well, ice you can use the fire rod to get through, but still, the lack of medallions, you have to be thinking, like, where are they going to show up?
Medallions are going to show up in pendant dungeons at this point. Because, like you said, we're lacking the medallions. We're lacking the flippers and the Titan's mitts for ice. We're lacking the flippers for swamp. So, Bombos medallion, perhaps. Thieves' Town. We've already seen most of the other Dark World checks, because again, no Titans, no Dark Worlds. So their choices are narrowing down quite rapidly at this point, even though Zaen did pull up the hammer. Speaking of flippers, there they are. Skullwoods.
Oh, and Swamp, right?
Yep, that now opens up Swamp. Yeah, but Swamp has 6 items inside of it, so, and it is a crystal. But
that's an awful feeling too, having to think about, do I need to go to Pendant Swamp, because you avoid Swamp just as much as Aghanim generally.
Remember, Swamp is the other 5/6.
Oh yeah, I don't know why I was thinking it was a pendant. Okay, in that case, yeah, just go Swamp.
It's Thieves' Town and Skullwoods that were the pendants, which is why Zaen probably just went right by them, despite the fact that dungeons are weighted as they are. I was rewarded for the hammer, but again, you know, decisions they've made, they've skipped silvers. They've now left the flippers behind. They're going to have to, luckily with the hammer, it's not too terrible to get back into the Dark World. But I'd say at this point in time, you really can't say one is ahead of the other.
Yeah, it's really hard to tell with how divergent the paths have been. Both of them have made plays that have given them items, like item advantage over the other. But so you have like Ninban has silvers and those flippers, and Zaen has crystals cleared out too. So it's really tough to see one person's ahead.
Yep. I'm curious to see if Ninban goes into Thieves or can. Because, you know, Thieves, it's always a gamble if you don't have the hammer. And behind, it is the green pendant. Sarashla has been known on occasion to troll. Containing something
going
useful.
To Thieves is a good choice if you don't. If you're like worried about that hammer showing up in like Hype Cave, which I would be, just go ahead and clear out Thieves.
Zaen's going to be getting their silvers here shortly. Looks like they're adding the catfish, which means they may very well go to Zora now that they have the money. Since already fake flippered for Waterfall and already checked the ledge. So there goes that slight advantage Ninban had of silver, since really hasn't had a chance to put that advantage to use.
Right. And Zaen can get over to Skullwoods really fast because of the Kakariko access that he has and Ninban doesn't.
Yep, that hammer really shortens it a bit. So Ninban didn't pull too much out the front of Thieves. But he has, you know, the small key already. The seed is definitely an interesting one. Locked you into the light world for a small eternity, pretty much. I mean, whenever you have a seed that's over 30 minutes in and you still don't have dark world access, that's a rarity. Zaen gets confirmation that Zora was a bust now.
I wonder where we see him go now. Okay, he pulled out his flute, so I would imagine probably the Village of Outcasts.
It's really the only play to be made at this point is to head back to the village and choose either Swamp, I mean not Swamp, it's Skull, or Thieves.
Mm-hmm. And I'm gonna think too, once he finds those flippers too. Actually, flippers were in the big chest, correct?
Flippers were in the big chest, yes, and the big itself was all the way in the back, and the chest that people usually save for last.
Yeah, so if he decides that, you know, I don't want to commit myself that much to a pendant dungeon, then that could be a little bit troublesome.
Yeah, but at this point in time, committing to a pendant dungeon is the only choice, and we see Skull.
Yeah. It's obviously a little bit more desirable now.
Yep. And in chat, we have a few questions. Zora had a 5 arrow capacity upgrade, and the pedestal was couch cash.
Essentially the scam.
Yep. So here we see 50 rupees. So there is a 1 in 2 chance that not having the hammer will bite Ninban in the rear or not, depending on what blind drops.
And at that point, I have to wonder if Ninban maybe thinks he's a little bit behind, because now you're leaving an item behind in Thieves Town that could potentially be, you know, something he needs, like mitts or whatnot.
Clean phase 1. Always love the blind thing where it says, hey, Maya requires one of these 3 medallions. Won't tell you which, but you need one of the 3. Very helpful. I almost prefer the puns. That was a very clean blind, too.
Yeah, very good.
20 rupees.
Item as well.
Yep, Ninban got lucky. So that hammer will not bite Ninban in the rear. So I expect we'll see Ninban head south and eventually the hammer. And Ninban may also choose to check the Bombos tablet as well.
Yeah, I think that would make sense to do that, just since it's right there. Plus he has the green pendant as well, so whenever he decides to go back to Potty's turn, he can just go ahead and knock that item out as well.
Yep. Mumed 2. The thing about blind is at one point in time, I believe there was like a 5% chance blind would tell you, you know, Maya or Turtle Rock and the medallion. It lasted for all of one version of Randomizer, and then as a joke, they decide, you know, if it does pop up, it requires one of the 3 medallions, and then it lists off all 3. So you really don't get anything out of it.
Wow, actually I didn't know that. I mean, I'm still kind of new to rando myself, but it's pretty funny.
Yeah, there was one version where it would actually list it with like a 5% chance. But it was quickly deemed that that was not quite true to the base game, because the devs do like to try to keep things a little bit to the base. What? Oh, that's right.
No. Oh no, that's what I said too. It's like, you know, how much
Zaen,
are you going to commit to that?
Zaen didn't commit enough. Going into Thieves Town where we know there's a green pendant, but that's it. Ouch. An OPT is pointing out to me that the blind phrase is also intended to be a pun, which I missed, which makes it doubly terrible.
All right, so we're getting our Bombos tablet check.
Before High
Bloopers
Cave.
could, yeah, before High Cave. I think no, it works out because it's a little bit faster to get here and back.
Yep. And
what do we got?
300 rupees. So
What a rich seed.
Swamp Palace will contain value, which means Zaen is going to be falling behind if Ninban heads there or does the Pod Eastern. And Zaen, interesting decisions are definitely.
I don't fault him right now for skipping that item. It's such a gamble whether or not that Skull has something of value.
Yeah,
and to put that much time into it too.
Yeah, usually with Skull, whenever I'm playing it, it's if you only find the one item up front, you don't have access to that big chest. You're checking the 2 Gibdo, the 2 floating jelly. Ninban gets the hammer. If you're going that far, then you might as well quickly sneak in. You have the mirror, so you can get out of that spot real quick and at least determine whether or not Mothula. So unfortunately, that's going to hurt Zaen, who is making quick work of Thieves, though. Does have the hammer. We'll check that, get nothing out of it. And we see Ninban going straight for
it has to be mids in here. There's no other location it could be at this point.
Yeah. Mitts will be in here, and potentially a medallion. If they don't find a medallion, that means Ice Palace or Eastern Death Mountain or Smith Purple Chest Peg Cave. There's not a whole lot. This seed is actually keeping them quite linear in terms of rando.
Oh, we do get to see finally what was in that big chest. Oh, wait, we already knew that all the items were picked up in Thieves Town. But
yeah, it was going to be a dungeon item.
Yeah.
So now, does Ninban go left side swamp while in here? Or does Ninban head straight to Argus and then weigh whether or not to go left side? There's the medallion ether. First one.
So how many items he finds early could kind of determine that. We've seen a lot of recent races that in the primary tournament that left side has determined the outcome. So if you're thinking about that, literally
amazing Ampharos. Flute was left side of swamp, which led to the go mode item, and that race was over before it ended because of that decision by TGA to skip left side of swamp. So it's always a gamble. The item count that they're looking for at this point, I think, is low enough that going to Argus first and then weighing, do I check, do I have 1 or 2 items left, would be an intelligent play, but I'd probably still full clarity.
Yeah, it's always going to haunt you.
Zaen hadn't checked that mirror spot, apparently. Or had and forgot that they did. So Zaen only has the Bombos tablet this direction, and then it's back to Skull Woods. Hopefully they remember that.
Alright, so we do see Ninban deciding to go to the left side.
Yeah, and it is a smart play. Yep.
I mean, we still need Red Cane, mitts, possibly more medallions. There's just too much to pass up.
Exactly. And Zaen gets the confirmation that, you need to go back to Kakariko and Skullwoods.
Oh, okay, no, he's gonna make the pod play, looks like. Oh, wait, he does? What is he doing? Oh.
That's right, blind was the green pendant.
Oh,
He's
yeah.
probably cashing it in first to see if they're value.
Which there may be. We don't know just yet.
Yep. Saha could hold the Titans, perhaps. Nope, it's just 3 bombs. So, the fact that Zaen only has Skullwoods left and going back there... What is left on the mountain for Zaen at this point?
He probably doesn't recall that he doesn't have... Oh, wait, did he check? Oh, he's checking the Ether tablet.
Ether, okay.
Which we know also doesn't have anything.
And Hiei is pointing out Spike Cave is a potential. And Hiei is correct. Spike Cave is indeed logic.
Oh, that's right.
And that is where science... Hey, we have our butter. First butter. Ninban, left side swamp.
Pretty stacked seed. Got silvers, butter sword. Now we just need red tunic.
I think they'd be fine with blue tunic at this point.
Yeah.
But let's see. Spike Cave. A container. Zaen's probably about to start pulling out some hair at this point.
Yeah, he's probably definitely feeling a little bit behind. Especially once he finds the flippers, it'd be kind of panicking a bit.
The advantage that Zaen does currently hold is the pod Eastern Palace clear. That is a quick combo to knock out. And as we see, Ninban is already almost through all the swamp. Does not have the big key, so if it's on Argus, depending on the item count, may have to re-enter to check or take the gamble and leave. So it's not done yet. But definitely, there's the big key
here. Yeah, I have. Yeah, he's. Oh, he's
not backtrack. Is backtracking? Ninban has.
What are you doing to us?
Yeah. This doorway right here is a fun one. That is excellent coding for you right there. It sets you up so high on the screen, you are automatically forced to re-enter. Go back down. And it's just the map and the big chest. Meanwhile, Zaen's heading towards the flippers, and will probably feel pressured, even though the pod Eastern Palace clear has been done. This is technically a triple dip of Skullwoods at this point for Zaen. And triple dipping anything is painful. Compass.
Also, still have mitts.
Argus has the final item. Argus... I'm thinking, but it does seem like Argus will have the mitts.
What else? Yeah, I'm trying to think.
I'm also thinking
nothing else that I can think of.
Yeah, nothing comes to mind. Argus should have mitts. So there's no other spot in the logic. And very nice from Ninban. We see the start of the NMG strategy quick kill of the Puffs. Doesn't quite get the Cyclists, but still makes quick work.
Yeah, really clean fight.
Guess feels safer in just doing the 2 golden spins. And no, 50 rupees.
Huh.
Pyramid Fairy.
Yeah, Pyramid Fairy.
This unlocks the Fat Fairy, which has 2 items inside.
What a brutal seed. Full clear Swamp Palace just to get the crystal and then go to Pyramid Fairy. Linearity is real.
Ninban has the dungeons for because Desert was the other one. But Ninban at some point will need to do Pod Eastern Palace, which is about the only saving grace for Zaen at this point is at Equalizer. However, Ninban is wasting no time in getting that big ball.
Yeah, Zaen now making his play over to Swamp Palace, having found those flippers in Skullwoods.
Upside of being forced into Aga 1, quick bomb delivery. Head north, mirror, right back through the gate.
It's definitely the most convenient part about doing Aghanim.
It's the only convenient part of doing, just saying.
Other than getting to the rest of the game, but you know.
So, Mitts and what else in here? Mitts and mushroom fetch quests.
I love it.
So, with this knowledge in hand, and with the Ether Medallion, guaranteed access to Ice Palace, Eastern Death Mountain Dark World, the Mire area, maybe Mire, maybe Turtle. But Ninban
are really
is
close to go mode, it looks like, too, depending on what the medallions are.
the medallions and the Cane of Samar are the deciding factor at this point. The nice thing is, because the Cane of Samara is still MIA, can't be on Turtle Rock anywhere. Can't be on Vitreous, but it could be in Mire. Now, there's the pendant turn-in for Ninban.
Yeah, it's really, I think we'll see them go to Ice Palace before trying to do Mire or Turtle Rock.
I could see going to Mire to do item checks and get the knowledge on the medallion. And then I'd probably, if I were the runners, I'd probably go Dark World Death Mountain first, just because Ice Palace and Go mode versus clearing it is still enough of a time difference to justify clearing out Death Mountain first.
Sure.
So this is definitely an interesting race, a bit troll to say, given the relatively linear nature throughout. It's definitely turning into a high item location seed at this rate.
And now that it's become the divergent paths have become a little bit more convergent, I would say Ninban has a slight lead over Zaen. I think it'll take a little bit less time to clear out Pod and Eastern, as opposed to finishing Swamp and doing Pyramid Fairy. But I think it's a very small lead on Ninban's side that could easily go the other way.
I would have to agree with that. I'm honestly thinking that whenever Ninban kills that last Armos Knight, Zaen will be big bomb in tow, ready to blow up, or maybe even on the screen of the pyramid. It will be negligible, I think, in terms of where the two are, barring any oops or second guesses, because both have been relatively clean.
Mm-hmm. Whatever they do next after their respective dungeons will definitely be
the determining factor.
Yeah, where we're going to see Hammer Pegs, East Death Mountain, Ice Palace. It opens up a lot more now.
Yep. Ninban has to be a little bit careful here. He's being a little sloppy on Helmley, opting not to charge the sword because of that. Yeah, now out comes the sword, but he is one hit away from death at this point.
Oh my god. My heart
almost got
a bit.
He almost got bodied, but comes away with the kill. And for those of you who haven't really seen it much before, Helmasaur, you hold out your sword. The hammer normally kicks you backwards, where you're facing the opposite direction, keeping your sword charged, keeps you facing the boss, and it's a little bit safer whenever you're doing those hammer hits. That's why he went into the boss a few times when trying to hit it with the hammer, and got dangerously low in health in the Noma Scalp. Here we see Zaen is about to find the big key. Question is, do they go back or do they gamble? I'm going to guess Zaen is not going to gamble at this point, given how other things have led to. Yeah, Zaen's going straight up. Deals with the wonderfully coded staircase.
He actually does the dash into the door to get past that, which a lot of people don't know. If you have the boots, you can avoid being forced back down.
Something you dash into it and then you hold down plus left. I do not recall the exact combination, but
I've done it once by complete accident.
Yep, it's a very particular set of circumstances to avoid being sucked back down the stairs.
Well, it'll definitely help Zaen kind of catch up a bit to Ninban. Even if it's just a couple seconds.
Hey, every second counts. We've seen races decided by 10, 15 seconds. Some during the early stages of groups in this tournament, and the Swiss in the main tournament literally came down to 1, 2, 3 seconds. So every little bit of tech counts. See, Ninban misses with that first arrow. So getting a little trolled.
A little low on health too, so I'll be a little bit worried going into this fight. Play a little bit more safe.
Yep, we'll have to see how Zaen handles it. Not doing too terrible, although down to 2.5 hearts. Gotta be a bit careful. But keeping the distance, and barring a major mishap, has Swamp in the bag. And actually, Ninban has a bit more of a lead finishing these than I thought he would.
Yeah, you're right.
So, see 2 crystals held up in the sky. So our runners now have 4 crystals apiece, I do believe is what the count's at. And now this is where, once Zaen does the big bomb, this is where things can diverge. Up, fetch quest first. Understandable, it was locked by the Fat Fairy. Fetch quests kind of hang over your head. Getting it out the way.
I mean, this one's so easy to knock out with the flute too, so just get it out of the way.
Yeah.
Plus you get your safety potions.
That's what I was about to say. It looks like we're about to get some safety potions. Not a bad thing. Whenever you have the flute, it's so easy to get there. But since you're already doing the turn-in, might as well. After all, staying alive is the best.
Yeah, and you're not going to be dying anytime soon with those 3 blue potions in tow.
And he's going right into Ice Palace, so I very much agree with the blue potion play, because Ice Palace, Cold Stare is miserable. With Butter, Cold Stare, if you do the quick kill right, is super easy. But Green Tunic is always a nail biter.
Yeah, I agree. Chat's mentioning, looking at Maya real quick. I think that's a good choice as well, because if you find Kane here, and it's ether required for Maya, then bam, you just got that out of the way. Then on the other hand, though, you don't know what Turtle Rock is yet either.
Yeah, that's why. There. Yeah, personally, I would have done the Meyer play real quick. There's the Mirror Shields that's already one of 3 Ice Palace. Personally, I would not have done what Ninban did. I would have done Meyer area, check the medallion. Since I was there, check the shed, check checkerboard, head up, enter the Dark World, atop Turtle Rock, see the medallion. That way you can identify what you need. Or if you enter the Dark World up north, it's a real quick check to get Hookshot Cave and the 2 chests in the cave leading up to the north.
Looks like both runners are electing for that Ice Palace play, so not the divergence we were looking for.
Yep, they were given plenty of options to pick from, and they're both making the so. And as Hiei pointed out, it's a battle of execution. We see Ninban is setting up for the bomb jump here. The bomb jump cracks this dungeon wide open in terms of getting through it. If you're checking every location, it's less important. Having some issues there.
Yeah. Also, he doesn't have Kane, so it's really important to get that block down there on your first pass.
Yep. Exactly, because If the key count is such that where they do the dungeon, they complete it, that means the red cane is indeed accessible somewhere. This eliminates that issue. Let's see.
So I wonder if we find a key here, if they'll go right back up.
There's blue mail. Yeah. That's two items now.
And almost vanilla.
Yep. I'm kind of surprised he didn't head back up. Did he?
He didn't have a key, so...
Now, whenever you do it this way, if you were clearing, there is a method to still be able to full clear without, that initial key, because you go north, you drop down. Ice, even now, with, 100 runs behind me, I still don't remember exactly every little nuance of Ice Palace.
Same.
So
there's just so many routes you could take depending on what items you find.
Yep. I believe if he wants to head back up to the items he skipped, he will have to bomb jump to them to be able to cross that gap in the 2 Ice Stalfos room. Whatever those ice things are called.
No, actually, no, he'll go this way. And then he can hookshot across, which will put him in the room with the spikes separating the switch and the chest.
Right.
But yeah, bomb jumping in the freezer room would have been faster. It's just a hard jump, in my opinion. It's really hard to... If you mess up, then you get thrown down.
Yeah.
Ooh, Zaen actually gets it. First try. Nice. So
yeah,
that's actually a pretty significant way to catch up.
Yeah. As we see, there's literally a room separate. Interesting that he decided to just grab the pot and then move on anyway. He's just 1 item short, so it may have been quicker. Go back, check the chest, and see if it was the 3rd item. There's the big key.
Oh.
This is what Zaen just did, but it's just the map.
Okay.
So luckily for Ninban, Zaen is not heading straight to the boss now. Kana Samara, there it is. Pending medallions. This could be go mode. Pending medallions required. So it would... I do foresee these runners doing some variation, looking at Meyer and looking at Turtle Rock here shortly, just because that's the only unknown.
It actually worked out in their favor too, going Ice Palace before, checking Meyer and everything, because they were going to have to find that cane anyways there, behind everything else.
Yep. So I'm very curious what medallions Turtle Rock and Meyer are. And we'll be finding out in the next few minutes, I imagine, since Meyer is so quick. And I'm almost curious if they will check Meyer and then immediately mirror and flute to Death Mountain, or if they will go into Meyer, treat it as go mode, if they have access.
It's a hard call because, if you go to Turtle Rock and you see that it's also Ether, then you're not having to... You can just go mode both dungeons, but if it's something else and you just go straight to Meyer instead, then...
Ninban messes up.
Gotta play it a little safer there. These Culsair does a lot of damage.
Yep. Interesting.
He doesn't have that butter.
Yep. Interesting to note with butter, there is 0 reason to do spin attacks with it. The spin slash damage of butter is the exact same as the slash. However, it looks like... Yep, there we go.
Wow,
Zaen.
really clean fight by Zaen.
Yep, Zaen gets it. The dash poke was an interesting one. Normally you can just do a standard slash, pop him into the corner, you slash, and you... Yep, Ninban was a bit sloppy there. One cold stare, however, Ninban is still in the lead just by a smidgen.
Yeah, Zaen is definitely Ninban picking up the rock and Duck getting blocked. But Zaen definitely catching up a lot in Ice Palace, so just, better execution.
Oh, Zaen misfluted there. It's going to be a couple of seconds because the bird takes a while to pop back up, and that is Ether, it looks like.
Ether?
Yes.
Okay, yeah.
And opts to go into Meyer. There's the magic powder. And bombs, so there's no gain outside of the safety of having the powder. However, Zaen's opting to do the same play. Ninban, what you doing, man? I guess Ninban's going to check checkerboard.
Yeah. I think going here is the safer of the two plays. Maybe just going straight to Meyer, full clearing it. Nice tunic.
But honestly, Zaen's doing the play that I would have done in this situation. You have access to Meyer. You still don't know what Turtle Rock is. Go into Meyer, treat it as go mode, open what you can along the way because it's a hunt for the big chest anyway.
Yeah, you still need the big key, and that's just as elusive as the two items here.
Yep. And if, say, big key is on the bridge or in the spike room, head to Vitreous, clear it, hope to get one of the two items out of the dungeon. Head up to Turtle Rock, check what pendant it is first, or medallion it is first, and then decide whether you have to start playing, hunt the medallion or not.
Yeah, and then if it's a different medallion for Turtle Rock, you have all of Dark World, Death Mountain to check too, so there's a good chance you'll probably find it there.
The advantage of the way the seed's laid out is that they have checked everything outside of locations. So they do have that little bit going for them. So it's not a Godmire, but there is this chest right here. Nope, just a small key. So it is a hunt for the big key, which means where will items be? This seed is definitely something else. That's right, Zaen did not turn in the mushroom, correct?
I don't believe so. I think he had only bought the blue potion and just dipped out. Will obviously work out in his favor because it's not an item he needed, but if we see a hunt for medallion, then maybe he'll go back there.
Yeah, I don't recall Ninban slipping up there. Oh, Zaen did, okay. Must have missed that. Zaen did do the mushroom. Ninban, again, making a little bit of, I'm going to head this way up. Nope, let me go this way instead. In this instance, it was the room. Oh, there's the big key. Ninban, what do you do?
That's a tough call. Yeah, I think going this way is correct as opposed to waiting in that long cutscene.
Oh god, yes, that is a very, very lengthy time to go through. However, Ninban is getting a few more out of the way.
We do know that.
There's the 50 rupee.
Zaen did pick that up as well. I don't think we found the second item just yet, but they are going for that go mode.
Correct. Ninban's taking the back way as well.
That's a good call. I actually like that a lot.
Yep. Hope the second item is located on Vitreous. Whether it is or not, you have one of 3 medallions to access Turtle Rock. You have a mere handful of locations if you can't get into Turtle Rock. So it is... What are you hoping to see out of this?
Out of what? Just what happens with Turtle Rock?
Yeah, you hoping Turtle Rock is Ether, a different medallion? Because there's not too much left that, it could be.
Yeah, I think the safest play is to do exactly what they're doing right now. Assume Turtle Rock either has Ether or it's something else, and one of the many locations on Death Mountain has that required item. I think it's probably the safest gamble. It's still a gamble, though, because who knows if Vitreous is going to have that item. And yeah, okay. Both work out for them.
Go moding Meyer isn't. Yeah, so either they have access to Turtle Rock or the Smith, Purple Chest, Peg Cave, 6 items on Death Mountain, and
yeah,
the
the appropriate
Magic
play definitely go to Death Mountain.
Here we see the Cape Dash strats from Ninban.
I approve of that.
Now comes
It's
Silver.
always cool seeing that.
Zaen, of course, is probably going to head straight up, as expected. Ninban following hot on Zaen's heels. Yep, Zaen chose not to do checkerboard. And honestly, that's the smart idea. You want that last bit of info, whether or not you're in go mode.
So we'll find out here shortly whether or not they have to keep looking. But if it is Ether, Zaen has a pretty good lead.
Zaen has about a 45-second.
And that's assuming Ninban does the exact thing that he's doing too, which it looks like he is.
Yep. Ooh, blocked by the dead rock though.
Ah, that's so like trolly. It doesn't even look like it's blocking the path either.
Yep. And he is just getting some serious trolling. Okay, Ninban's more like a minute or so.
Oh, there it is. So we are.
It is Ether. Okay, so go mode was at approximately an hour 20 something in, and it's a race to the end. Zaen has about Ninban again. Make up your mind, Ninban. You've been hurting yourself this whole race. Do I go this way, that way? But at this point in time, oh yeah, it's still very close, CA. It's simply a matter now of execution and how they play Ganon's Tower.
Yeah, and just based on everything I've seen so far, Zaen has been showing off some pretty incredible execution, which could be demonstrated by the fact that he's gone 2-0 in every race so far.
Yes, that was something that kind of stood out when we were looking. It doesn't actually tell you, the true skill, but Death Futon in chat is saying that Zaen is a high skill NMG player, which we have seen in this race and their strategies, especially, most recently in the Cold Stare boss fight, as well as the Vitreous fight. Lovely cane dash there. Lovely. But we're definitely seeing a higher level play at the moment out of Zaen than we are. But again, can't call it yet. It's not over until Ganon is exploding and they have the Triforce.
Right. It's good to see that Ninban also made the same play to go over there. I'm keeping this race kind of... Ooh! There's a medallion.
Yep.
Kind of funny that would show up there.
I have a niggling feeling that we're going to be seeing Quake before the end of the seed as well, just to round out the collection.
Validation chest, maybe? That's what I'm thinking.
If it's in validation chest, neither runner would check it, I can tell you that.
Right. We'll never know at this point.
It may only be a game 1 map, but at this point in time, with how the seed's been laid out and the choices both of these runners have made, both of them have got to be feeling pressure of, I need to move fast and just be done with it.
Yeah, probably Zaen more than Ninban because of the whole flippers and Skullwoods thing.
Yep, triple dipping Skullwoods is definitely painful for anyone. But again, just we see where execution kind of comes into play and makes just that little bit of difference, which it has for Zaen. Just a few choices that, from the rando perspective, were kind of questionable. Completely passed over hookshot early. Fortunately, got it before it made a difference. Yeah, Zaen's got about a minute lead or so now at this point, and we're seeing some solid strats out of Zaen.
Yeah, and Ninban is kind of messing up a little bit on his room. Still doing really well, but you can tell there's a clear difference in execution between the two runners, and Zaen is just more and more solidifying his lead.
Yep, we'll have to see if Ninban also skips the big chest.
Depends on whether or not he goes to the store right here, which I don't think he will. He should know. Yeah.
Almost accidentally unlocked it, though. You almost walked into the door there. So we have Zaen heading over to Trinex now. Gold sword, boots. I'm expecting we see the NMG kill of the dash to the top. Yep, dash to the top. And, yep, gets the item change in before. Doesn't quite get the zero cycle. Ooh, Ninban going for the big chest, not knowing the logic well.
Yeah. There's nothing else that you need either. You got silvers, you got butter sword.
You have everything. There was zero reason for that, but I know sometimes I still trip up on the logic of what is and is not required, and that could have been a logic error of there could be a small key in there.
And also just baby nerves as well. Kind of, you're at the end of the race and you're about to enter Ganon's tower. You're probably thinking about, the mistakes you made and, if I'm ahead or behind.
Yeah. So, barring some extreme trolling, I don't see Zaen sleep.
Yeah, even at this point, if it's like tile room big key, I think his lead is so he's so far ahead that he can still keep it over Ninban.
Yep, and real quick, chat is already ahead of us on this, but since we are now inside of Ganon's tower, 22 potential item locations from east side tile room, maybe behind the ice armos. Whoever picked one, anyone pick one? First,
hey, I picked one, or I was just about to pick one.
Yep.
I'll take that one.
Normally, you get a little bit more time to talk about it. First one, and Zaen, of course, knows you need a small key to guarantee being able to clear. So is coming for the small key in the pot and immediately begins to climb. The fact that the big key was in the first chest works out in Zaen's favor.
Jet GT indeed.
Yeah, it is rare when it occurs, but it's such a wonderful feeling, especially after a seed like this. It's a phenomenal feeling. It's like you're guaranteed the sub 2 hour. You have all the tools you need to just wreck the tower. Although Zaen needs to be a little bit careful and needs to clump. Only has 8 of them right. So we have Ninban, just took down Trinex, is heading on over. Should head right and find that big key in either 1 or 2 goes. And hopefully remember.
He did pull out the hook shot, so I'm thinking he's assuming he's going right first to find that. Get those 2 chests.
It's become a more and more common play that people will head right. If they get a small key, then they'll continue on. And it's so quick to check those 2. The only way you lose time is if the big key is like on the torch or something. just because it ends up being right there in your face. So it's not a bad play to head right. And it's going to be chess number 2 for Ninban then. Here's your big key. Please remember you need a small key.
Yeah, I've seen runners sometimes just, get so excited by the prospect of finding that early big key that they just immediately start climbing and they get all the way up there. Like, oh no, I don't have that small key.
I've done that once.
Runners are good.
I've done that once, and I was locked just outside of Moldorm 2 and had to mirror out and go all the way back. Yeah, that was not a good feeling. So, definitely been a phenomenal race. Barring a fall to Ganon, does have this by, I'm not going to say a large margin, but it is a comfortable margin at this point. Given, yeah.
I was going to say, just to point out something Flappy just said, Zaen only has 6 arrows. So if he ends up using any for the rest of the gauntlet and maybe misses 1 or 2 for Ganon, that's not a full silver arrow fight. Could have to use those spin slashes.
Yeah, but with the gold sword, even then, it's only 12 spins. And with, if you say, I'm trying to think, 1 silver arrow is equivalent to 3 spins. Even then, I think at this point you would have to use arrows and fall to really give an
It's definitely a long. It's like the worst of the worst that can happen.
Yeah.
But we know Zaen's a really good no-meat glitches player.
What is Zaen doing?
Oh, he didn't pick up a key, I think? Yeah, he didn't.
No, he has the key. From the mold.
The Helmasaur.
Yep, kind of important to pick that one. Again, you only need 4 for Ganon. And because Zaen is a high-level energy skill, I don't foresee many problems. If you've seen a lot of runners who, have NMG skill or anything where they're required to fight Ganon in the category with either spins... Actually, I don't... Yeah, pretty much with spin slashes with any of the categories. It takes a fair bit for them to really have a difficult time.
Yeah, I think one of the things you do as you begin to play this more and more is always commit to the idea of a Master Sword Silverless Ganon every single seed.
Yep. Nice double to start. Almost had the triple. Another double. And I'm going to say this. A double, double, double. Very clean 3-cycle Aghanim 2 from Zaen. Zaen has a 128.37 NMG, which is phenomenal for NMG. Anything below 130 is insane, pretty much, for a player. So, definitely good play. Lost my train of thought there. And Ninban knows, okay, he gets his key, so he's not too far behind. Quick phase 1, just 6 hits. Phase 2, really quick. And it's a real friendly cycle. Looks like he's just going to wail on Ganon a bit more just because.
It doesn't hurt. Even if it's just for your own personal satisfaction.
It's always satisfying. So, teleporting around a bit, though.
I have to wonder if it's going to be the Wii ending message.
Teleporting around a lot. There we go. There's the second hit.
Ganon, please.
Ganon showing the wonders of magic. Catch me if you can.
Oh my goodness.
Okay, here we have Ninban in his Aga 2 fight. I believe he got a first go. There is another 2 hits for 3. Spin slashes are a bit safer, but you have less control over projectile. He got 2 out of that one. We're about to find out. Yep, there we go.
Oh.
He is out of arrows. Yep. However, Zaen has to fall at this point, which I do not see happening. NMG is, there we go. There is Zaen finishing. And an official SRL time of 1 hour, 50 minutes, and 6 seconds for first place. Give us 1 moment. We'll see if Zaen wants to come in and say a few words between races, because they are going immediately into Game 2 after this one. And here we see Ninban going.
Yeah, they may elect to just take a short break, but we'll see what he wants to do.
Also, the sprite of the sprite grabbing the Triforce is phenomenal. And there we have Ninban with a real kill time different 2 runners. Rocky start. It was definitely a fun race. It looks like Zaen will be joining us briefly for a little bit of chatter between races. Don't go anywhere, folks, though, because we will be going straight into another race in a bit. So, official time was 1 hour, 52 minutes, and 2 seconds. So, not a full 2 minutes behind. And here we have Zaen with us. You currently have your mic muted, it looks like, but congratulations on your first race.
Yeah, great.
Yeah, thank you.
First race by you.
Yeah, I thought I would lose after the Skyward's play. I mean...
Yeah,
one
honestly,
item yeah.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, the one item in Skyward's really screwed me over. I don't know. I should have checked it earlier, but for some reason I thought I could just get away with it.
Yeah, you leaving the chicken hut behind and then triple dipping Skullwood for the flippers were the 2 things that made us go whole, especially with the hook shot being in the chicken hut so early in.
That was really surprising. I couldn't really check it because I didn't have the money for bombs, and I didn't really want to farm bombs for it, and so I just moved on and decided to continue to go there later when I get bottle. But yeah, I had to check it earlier than that.
Yep. Because of some of that play, Ninban did have the lead until an hour or so. At which point, he apparently checked checkerboard, and after doing the shed, you went into the shed maybe like 5 seconds after he came out of it. Because you went into Mire first, that's where you took the lead, and you kind of kept it till the end. How'd you feel about this seed? 35, 37 minutes in, Forced Aghanim, all those wonderful items leading in, still no Dark World.
It was way more linear than I thought. We got so many items at the beginning, but then it was just go there, then go there, and go there. But at least we got the boots early, so that's a plus for me.
I'll have to say, the two of you took very similar routing paths. Yeah, obviously the flippers thing was a little bit of a setback for you, but your execution throughout like the second half of the seed was absolutely phenomenal and really like brought you back from like maybe a minute, 45 seconds behind them to like a 2-minute lead over him at the very end. So I was really kind of in awe on how well you were playing after finding those mitts.
Yeah, it's kind of muscle memory at that point. As soon as we go mode, I just do the NMG strats.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a real treat seeing that high tier level of execution. Death Futon passed along, your time on the G. And your playing coupled with that showed just why you were executing as phenomenal as you were. And again, it was a treat to watch. Especially the cold stare kill. Perfect.
I kind of messed up a bit. I saved it with the fire rod, but yeah, it went alright, I would say.
Yeah, as soon as you did that bomb jump over the pit, that was like he caught up like 30 seconds over Ninban because he ended up just doing the full clear normal strat. So we were all pretty excited to see suddenly you're both like almost neck and neck.
It sounds pretty exciting. I have to watch it later.
Any thoughts going into game 2 or any thoughts about this race that maybe you'll take over into game 2?
This time I won't leave items behind, like in Skullwoods this last time. And I just hope for boots earlier again, because, I don't know, I like the boots. It's my favorite item in the game.
Oh,
It
yeah.
makes it so much easier and smoother.
Yeah, bootsless seeds are kind of, they're not very fun to play, so it's good to see them pretty early.
Definitely.
Yeah, and it's definitely a lot of fun.
I'll let you go so you can have like a brief moment to relax a bit for the second race. Congrats again on your first win, and good luck on the second race.
Thanks.
Yep, best of luck to you, Zaen. I'll be watching the second one quite closely. And yeah, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Leads the best of 3 series, 1-0 over Ninban. Don't go around after a few minutes break for both of these runners. They'll be delving into game 2. I'm going to go on ahead. Yeah, game 3 will follow. I'm going to go ahead and bow on out at this point. However, JTB will be sticking around, and our tracker for this match, Flaffykins, will be taking over as his co-commentator. So I'll be leaving you all in their capable hands. Make sure follow the runners. Links are in the chat, and hope you all enjoy the next game.
Yeah, and it was great commentating with you too. So hopefully we get to do it again sometime.
Same here, JTB. Have fun commentating the second one. You as well, Flaffy. Space Cowboy 2011 out.